Good morning or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. Welcome to this special presentation of PSMJ's quarterly industry market trends for 2012. This is a presentation that we do on a regular basis, and we're delighted to give you this preview to the presentation. The agenda for the presentation that we're going to be making is, first of all, after a brief introduction, we're going to be talking about what happened in the first quarter of 2012 based on our latest survey. We're going to give you some macroeconomic trends that have a big impact on our industry, so you'll see where things are heading. We'll look at the future of the industry based on some quarterly market trend analysis that we do that's exclusive to PSMJ. And we'll give you some recommendations and conclusions about what you ought to do with this information. Then we'll throw it open for questions. The information we're going to be presenting is based on market surveys that PSMJ conducts every March, June, September, and December, and the most recent information is as of March 30th, so it's really fresh information. We do these surveys as a free service to the A&E industry. We open these surveys up to people that are only in the A&E industry. About somewhere between 200 and 500 people respond to these surveys every quarter. And we use this information to chart trends using a plus-minus index. And here's the way that the index works. This shows revenues in the A&E industry dating back all the way to when we first began in 2003. And you can see any number above 0 is positive, meaning that revenues are increasing this quarter versus previous quarter. Any numbers below 0 means that revenues are decreasing. And you can see revenues since 2003, when we started these, were increasing, but they kind of peaked. The increases peaked around 2006, went negative, and stopped increasing with the recession hit in 2008, continued to go negative, and have since rebounded nicely. And in fact, we've now seen 2 consecutive quarters of increasing revenues. It's important that when you plan your firm's strategy, you follow the advice of Wayne Gretzky, the hockey great, who said, don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where it's going to be. So you really need to plan ahead. And this is what this webinar is here to help you do, is to plan ahead. If you really want to know what's going to happen to cash flow and revenue, you have to go all the way, you have to look at what's happening in proposals. So proposal activity today is going to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow in terms of backlog, revenue, and cash flow. So we look at proposal activity in all of these different sectors and subsectors. And today this preview is going to focus just on the housing sector. But in the actual webinar that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, we're really focusing on all of these different sectors. Looking at housing, what you can see is housing was very positive when we first started doing this in 2003. It became gradually less and less positive until 2006. It actually went neutral, and then in 2007 and 2008 it went big time negative. It's come back some, and actually 2010 was slightly positive, 2011 was a little bit more positive, and in the first quarter of this year even more positive. So what that means is that housing really saw a bottom in 2009, and the bottom was pretty close to 0 because there was essentially no activity, but it's actually been coming back a little bit ever since then. If you look at housing on a geographic basis, what you see is that the South, the Northeast, the Southwest, the Mountain region actually have seen slight increases in the most recent quarter. So we're beginning to see a pickup. The bottom seems to be behind us, and we're beginning to see a pickup in the housing market. If we will look at it in terms of submarkets, you see a very different picture. What you see is actually a very strong market for multifamily housing, also a pretty strong market for senior and assisted living, and much weaker markets in some of the other sectors. We'll be looking at analysis like this in the upcoming webinar, and we're going to look at it for all these different sectors. And we're going to also look at things like short-term prospects, we're going to look at long-term prospects, and we're going to look at relative profitability, which gives us our total point score, and that really allows us to rank these different sectors from best, which are in green, to worst, which are in red. So to sign up for the webinar, Please go to the link that's shown on the invitation email, or if you prefer, you can call PSMJ at 1-800-537-PSMJ, ask for the Education Department, and I look forward to seeing you there. Good day.